Hi, I'm Denise Ortiz of MindBodyHealing.biz, and thank you for joining us on our quest to find out the future of 2025 through astrology. We are going to look at celestial skies and astral vibes with my friend Vesta Millard. But first, I just wanted to let you know, in case you are new to this podcast, some information about what it is that we do and what we try to bring to you. My mission is to get as much information out there for everyone to get through these sometimes trying times. Just in general, how to feel better, meditation, health, tarot cards, learning about grounding, and anything that I can help to bring on guests or tell you about myself that will help you feel better and do better and be the best that you can. That's my goal. That's our mission of all the speakers that come on. We're here to teach, we're here to help, and we're here to share. If you like this podcast, please share it with some other people as well. You can check me on my website, which is mindbodyhealing.biz. We also have a Facebook page, and I also have different classes that are available on Patreon and some MP3s available on Buy Me a Coffee. So now I'd like to get into what we're here for today. You're beginning the new year, you've made your resolutions, you're looking forward, and you're wondering, what does astrology have for me? Well, let's talk a little bit about astrology. Astrology is a set of practices that use the positions of celestial objects to predict and influence human events. Now, this is nothing new. This has been going on for almost the beginning of time. Many cultures have used it since at least the second millennium BC. There are so many things that we can learn from the positions of the planets, how it will affect us. And maybe we can learn to work with it as we're going to learn a little more about what's in store for us. So, Vesta Millard is coming on right now. She is a good friend of mine. She is a crystal and an astrologer guide. She's a very talented woman in so many facets, but just for today, she's going to be our astrological guide along this journey. And let me ask you, Vesta, what is going to be the difference in 2025?
Well, first of all, Denise, thank you so much for inviting me on to share some of my knowledge with everyone. And I will say that 2025 is going to be a very significant year. And I'll tell you why in just a second. I love astrology, and just like you said, it is a very powerful tool that we can use to help live our lives and journey down our path forward. Once you learn all of the elements, it's actually fairly easy. We take the circle of 360 degrees, divide it into 12 zodiacal signs or houses, and then where the planets move and intersect actually affects each and every sign and each and every person here on Earth. So, what is different about 2025? Astrologers are just over the moon and super excited with the fact that all of the outer planets are changing signs, all on 2025's dime, okay? Now, why is this so incredible? Well, if you remember your basic astronomy, and astrology does use a lot of astronomy, we have our sun, which is Sol, and all the planets go around that. So think of the far reaches of the galaxy, the outer planets, Uranus, Saturn, Neptune, Pluto, even Jupiter are way out there, so it takes them far longer to go around the sun. For example, Pluto spends between 12 and 30 years in one sign, so his movement is extraordinary. Pluto has already gone from Capricorn into Aquarius back in November of 2024. But let's talk about some of the other planets and how they're changing signs. Neptune is 14 years in one sign. So think of that. In your lifetime, you're never going to see Pluto make a complete wheel of the zodiac, and probably not Neptune either. And Neptune is going from Pisces to Aries on March 30th. Saturn moves a little quicker. It spends 2.5 years in one sign. And Saturn is going from Pisces into Aries on May 25th. Jupiter spends 1 year in each sign, and he's going from Gemini into Cancer on June 9th. And Uranus that spends 7 years in each sign, goes from Taurus into Gemini on July 7th. So all of these outer planets are changing signs. I cannot stress how extraordinary this kind of energy is. In fact, I took a look and did some research back. The last time that 3 of the outer planets changed signs was 1737, at the height of what historians have called the Great Awakening. What was the Great Awakening? Well, it was a spiritual awakening and religious reform. It brought great economic growth, and of course, it feeded the furor, resulting in the revolutions, both here in America and also in France. So imagine, all of this is happening and hasn't occurred since 1737. So all of those planetary energies are going to be affecting everyone. They call them generational planets because it takes so long for them to orbit the sun. And as I said, the overall energy of this year is about closure and also intention. We have to set the stage for purpose and make the changes to get to that point. Now, I've heard a lot of talk about New Year's resolutions. Now, I know that Denise, you've even said it's not necessarily about the resolution you're making, it's about the intention. You don't have to reinvent yourself. Just take baby steps. Well, we're going to have the usual 12 full moons in 2025, plus plenty of meteor showers. I love to go outside and watch the shooting stars and make wishes. We're going to have 4 eclipses and 3 supermoons. So as always, there's going to be a lot of drama. And one of the words that I have adapted is pivot. How are you going to pivot? How are you going to be more respective of change and more reflective of yourself so that you can use and utilize these energies to be the best you can be?
Wow, that's great. I have a question. You mentioned the eclipses. How do the eclipses affect the astrology?
Well, keep in mind that a solar eclipse occurs only at the new moon. And every new moon, we have the sun and the moon in the same sign. So a solar eclipse occurs when the moon passes between the earth and the sun. Solar eclipses trigger significant change and new beginnings. It's a great time to set a new intention. A lunar eclipse only occurs during a full moon, when the sun and the moon are in opposition to each other. So they're in opposite signs. And that's when the moon passes through the Earth's shadow. Now, lunar eclipses are far more emotional, and they usually trigger revelations and also endings. So that's a quick kind of overview about eclipses, but they do happen every year to a number of signs, actually. And again, it's about using the energy with your best intent. So let's go ahead and jump into January. And we start January with Mars in retrograde, and it's going to remain in retrograde, moving backwards between Leo and Cancer. Now, Mars is fiery energy, and going backwards can mean a lack of motivation. But remember, any retrograde period, remember your Re's. It's a great time to reset, refresh, renew, kind of just chill, take it a little easier during retrograde periods. And then you'll be ready for when that individual planet moves forward again. January 11th, we have the north node of the moon, the node of destiny, entering Pisces. And the south node is going to be in its opposite sign of Virgo. And this shift means using the spiritual side through Pisces while re-releasing the overthinking and the analytical mindset that comes from Virgo.
So, Vesta, let me ask, what are the moon's nodes? Could you explain that a little bit for everyone, please?
Sure. The nodes of the moon are where the moon's orbit intersects with the path of the sun. And again, there's a north node, which is where we're going to be in this lifetime. And the south node is actually about karmic destiny. What lessons are we taking with us into this lifetime? What have we learned? in past lifetimes. So those are the attributes that astrologers ascribe to the north and south nodes of the moon. And remember, there's a lot of astronomy in astrology. So this is fact. A lot of it has to do with orbits and ellipticals. I know it seems a little complicated, but it really isn't. And it's a lot of fun once you learn more about it. January 13th, Mercury is in Cancer, and we have a full moon in Cancer. These placements help us tie up loose ends and communicate with grace. Cancer is a homebody sign, and if you are a Cancer, you know you probably love to be in hibernation mode, like me right about now. And it's winter for most of us. So we just like to stay cozy and wear our pajamas and maybe put together some oars and enjoy them. So there's always an intent for your better good. So if you don't feel like doing something all the time, maybe listen to your inner voice and just chill and take it easy. January 18th, Venus is in Pisces and it will move close to Saturn. Now, that might mean restrictions on play and social activities because Saturn is rather stern. You know, Venus wants to go out and party, 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 and Saturn puts on the brakes to all of that fun. January 19th, we have the sun entering into Aquarius. Now, Aquarius is a sign about groups and philanthropy. How can you work with that energy? Well, find a charity and either make a donation, a monetary one, or maybe go to a thrift store and donate some of your old jewelry or clothes. January 29th is the Lunar New Year. Now, it's coming early because it usually happens in February, but this is going to be the year of the snake.
And
Now,
that's
the
why
sun-
you're wearing the snake
Yeah.
today.
Yes, already embracing that snake energy. We are going from 2024, which was Wood Dragon, into the Chinese New Year on January 29th, and that will be the Wood Snake. Now, in the Chinese zodiac, they go an entire year for each animal, and they have more mundane animals than we do in our Eastern zodiac. They have the pig, the monkey, the sheep, the horse. The only animal which is mystic that they have is the dragon. And we're coming out of that fiery energy of a dragon year. They also have 5 elements. They have fire, earth, and water. They don't have any air. And then they add to that metal and wood. So they're combining an element with a particular animal of that year. And the elements go for 2 years. So we just came out of the wood dragon. We're going into the wood snake, which is a much quieter year. It's not as showy and ostentatious as a dragon is. The snake embodies wisdom, transformation. It's going to be a year of introspection, of planning. If you were born in 1952, 1964, 1976, 1988, 2000 or 2012, then you are a snake as we go into 2025. This will be your year. They say you're particularly lucky if you're in the same animal. So if you were born in any of those years, you are a snake. We're heading into a snake year. So you are going to have probably one of the best years you've had in a while. And I learned something new. The way to ensure that you have good luck when we change signs and go into the Chinese Lunar New Year is by wearing red socks. Legend has it that if you put on red socks on January 29th, you will have an extraordinarily lucky year because in the Chinese culture, they believe that red is a powerful color and it wards off evil. So now you are forewarned. Get your red socks ready. Go out and get a pair. And then remember to put them on for January 29th as we head into the year of the snake.
Absolutely. Well, that makes sense. Red is very vibrant. It's very full of life. It's very inviting, in so many ways. It gets the attention of things. But it sounds like with the snake at the same time, maybe a little calmer,
Mhm.
easier year than we've had recently. And
Yes.
even if you're not born in the year of the snake, it will affect everyone during the
Mhm.
same time, right? For the Chinese New Year.
Absolutely. I love Asian culture and I try to honor it. Obviously, I see a lot of the shopping channels already selling snake jewelry. There's snake pendants and earrings, and I mean, you can really embrace it and honor it too, of course. We have one more thing in January I wanted to mention before we go into February, and that's a big one. January 30th, Uranus, which has been retrograde, is moving forward. It's been retrograde for a while in Taurus, and it's going to go forward now. And this can mean big changes. Anytime we move out of a retrograde period, we are going to be putting the pedal to the metal and moving forward with that energy. So it's an opportunity to establish yourself, put down roots, and because it's going into Taurus, try not to be too stubborn or bullheaded. And that concludes January.
That's great. Now let's take a look at February.
We have a lot of movement in February. Beginning with February 4th, Venus is moving into Aries. Now, Aries is a cardinal fire sign. And when Venus goes into Aries, let's just say things are going to heat up. You are going to be very enthusiastic for love. And of course, February is the month of love. You could take the lead in relationships and maybe be a little more aggressive in a good way. We have Jupiter moving into Gemini, which means you could be feeling more adventurous. Jupiter is the planet of luck and abundance. He's called the Great Benefic. So anytime Jupiter moves into your sign, you are really going to be blessed with many opportunities. February 12th is the full moon in Leo. And that brings a connection to the heart. Leo rules the heart, and Leo is a fire sign. So you might have a need for attention. It will form a tense angle to Uranus, so expect the unexpected. Uranus is a planet of lightning-fast change. So think of the lightning bolt being all electric and coming in. And I always say it could be change for the good, like, hey, I won the lottery, or change for the bad. Maybe you get into an accident, but don't project that. Again, just work with the energy. February 14th, Valentine's Day, we have Mercury entering Pisces. So Pisces is the sign of the psychic. It's the most clairvoyant of all the signs. So indulge your creativity and listen to your inner voice and intuition. February 18th, the sun will enter Pisces. It's a very empathetic sign. So you are going to show love and empathy and just be a friend to everyone. Your intuition is strong, as is spirituality. Pisces is a very spiritual sign. February 23rd, Mars moves forward into Cancer. Now, this will lessen frustration and delays. Remember, Mars is energy and libido, and you will feel more in control of things when this happens. And we end the month with a Pisces new moon, letting you focus more on projects and able to better access your spirit guides. And that's a quick mini look at some of the astrological occurrences in February.
Well, February looks pretty good, and it sounds like it's filled with a lot of love, which, of course, Valentine's Day is the month, so it makes sense that it would just be so loving and compassionate. So I'm looking forward to February.
Oh, yes. Then we have March. March 1st, Venus begins retrograde in Aries, so watch your temper here. Again, Aries is a fire sign, so the positive side of that is drive and ambition, but the negative side is that you get a little irritable. So just work on your own issues. And again, we want to improve for the new year. It's a chance to start with a clean slate. Mercury joins her on March 3rd. Mercury is the planet of communication, so ideas come quickly. It's a powerful time to transform and maybe begin anew on a personal level. March 14th, we have a lunar eclipse in Virgo. Now, we spoke about lunar eclipses being very emotional times and a time of endings. Virgo rules the sixth house of health and work, so look for ways to release that stress and what no longer serves and just bring a better balance into your life. March 15th, expect the usual technical issues because we have a Mercury retrograde here. Now, Mercury goes retrograde a few times every year for a couple of weeks, and that's just affecting everything that has to do with communications, lost emails or lost snail mail, or things breaking down electrically. March 20th, the sun enters Aries. So we turn the page and enter another sign. Aries is the beginning of the zodiac. It represents the head in the body, and it joins Mercury and Venus here, and they're both retrograde. Now, because things are moving backwards, look for second chances. Look to reconnect with people you haven't seen in a while. So think of it that way, not necessarily moving backwards, but things that are old resurface again. March 29th, we have a solar eclipse, and that features Aries and Libra energies. Now, this relates to how we see ourselves. And try to not be a perfectionist. Try to not be so hard on yourself. I see this in the younger generations. They just embrace who they are and they make it work. So make it work for yourself and stop eating away at yourself. I think a lot of us are super hard on ourselves, especially women. And we do the shoulda, coulda, woulda, if only I should have done this. Why didn't I do this? And it's so easy to fall into a pattern of regret and loss. So work with this planetary energy and work for the highest good and the best outcome. March 30th, Neptune, the planet of dreams and illusion, goes into Aries. So let that fiery energy amp up your aspirations. Don't be afraid to reach for the stars and do it in a big way, since this planet changes signs only every 14 years. We're going to work with this new Neptunian energy. This will shift how we see ideals. And also, as Aries is a fire sign, sparks will be flying. So that concludes our look at the astrological happenings for the month of March. Moving into the month of April, what's going to be happening then? Well, other than tax season, April 7th, Mercury goes direct. So that's a good thing for all of those tax returns getting emailed in. That means they're going to arrive. Now we're ready to reconnect with grace because Mercury is the planet of communication and messages will go through. Maybe you'll get back on track with what kind of had hit a snafu with Mercury going into retro. April 12th, Venus goes forward into Pisces under a full moon in Libra. Libra is the sign of partnerships and relationships and also the law because Libra is represented by the pan balance. So things will be more balanced for you. Maybe it means you'll feel closer to the people in your life because Libra heightens relationships. You'll get rid of old baggage and address any karmic issues which might be coming in. April 16th, Mercury enters Aries. So again, things have come full circle. Any projects left unfinished, it's a good time to readdress those and maybe complete them because you'll feel like you're more on top of things there too. April 18th, Mars enters Leo, so that fiery energy is returning, and you'll feel more inspired, more excited, more able to get things done. It's also a great aspect for performers, as fire ignites passion, and maybe it'll be time for you to take center stage in whatever you do for a living. April 19th, we're early with this. The sun enters Taurus, bringing more confidence and more perseverance. And remember, the Taurian energy is a lot slower than Aries energy, which is very fast and directed. So Taurus is slow and steady. Slow and steady wins the race. Maybe it will offer up financial opportunities. We have a Lyrids meteor shower, which occurs April 22nd and 23rd. I always say when there's a meteor shower, find a dark space of sky and just go on outside and look up in wonder at the stars and breathe in their magic. Make your wish, make your intention, set your goal. And the magic energy of the universe may make it happen for you. Always be positive and believe you can, and therefore you will. April 30th, Venus comes back into Aries, so you'll come back to what had taken a back seat for you in March. And that concludes our look of things in April.
Great. Well, so far I'm enjoying the year. Each month with its own special personalities and emotions, but I must say it seems like Mercury is always in retrograde. So let's see what we have for our next month.
May starts off with one of the most powerful planets, and I still say Pluto is a planet. You know, there was a great debate there for a while saying that it wasn't a planet. Well, in my opinion, it certainly is. And May 4th, we have a Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. My friends, Pluto does not do subtle. Pluto is the great transformer. And you know what they say, to rebuild, first we have to destroy. And this is a great metaphor. It means basically rising like a phoenix out of the ashes. You'll have to adjust to toxic patterns and behaviors here. This sheds light on the skeletons in the closet. And again, this is shadow work, and it must be done because how else are we going to grow and thrive? The last time Pluto was retrograde in Aquarius was 1778. Now, reflect on your history. What was happening in America in 1776 and it went into 1778? Of course, it was the Great American Revolution. And our country was founded by a group of dissidents who didn't want to go along with the status quo and who broke apart from Great Britain. And that was really, really scary. Think about that. In fact, most of the big changes that have been made throughout history involve severe planetary energy that has allowed this to happen. So buckle up. Take a look at how you've been presenting yourself and work with that Plutonian energy to make the changes you need to be a better version of yourself. May 6th and 7th, we have the Eta Aquarids meteor shower, which comes from Aquarius. But that one will be seen mostly in the southern hemisphere. May 10th, we have Mercury coming back into Taurus. So that's that Taurian energy. It's a lot slower, but it gives you perseverance and stability at work and could provide some better financial opportunities with the ability to take more of those resources and do with them the best you can. May 12th, we have a Scorpio full moon, which brings intense emotions. Scorpio can be a very dark sign. They're very intense people, but they find transformation a bit easier to do than the rest of us, with Pluto being the planetary ruler. The hidden is always revealed. So we want to put a spotlight on what needs to change and work with that intense Scorpio energy and the full moon. It's also a great time to get out your crystals and recharge them under the light of the full moon. Let them absorb all that energy. May 24th, we have Saturn coming into Aries. Now, Saturn is Father Time. It's a planet of restrictions. It's a planet of regimen. So the positive side of Saturn is that we put our nose to the grindstone and we're better at work and we want to get things done. It's a very business-like planet. So we need a little bit of that energy, the planetary energy of Saturn. The shadow side of Saturn is that it also can impose restrictions and delays, which can lead to frustrations, of course. May 27th, we have Mercury connecting with Pluto. So that's what I was talking about. The planet of communication and the planet of transformation will be connecting. So this will allow you to get to the heart of the matter and make progress in whatever way that you felt slowed down or handicapped. We're about ready to go into June. Do you have any questions at this point, Denise?
Yeah, there's something I wanted to ask. If someone has something is happening in your sign, okay, does it affect you more than other people who are not in that sign?
Absolutely, unequivocally, yes. Absolutely. So when the full moon, for example, comes into your sign, and the moon, of course, there are 12 full moons. So each of us, every sign gets the opportunity to feel that energy and the power. So absolutely, you will be feeling it more. That can be a good thing. It can be a bad thing if it raises a lot of emotional angst in you. The moon is the divine feminine and gives us that introspective power. The sun is self. So when we have a solar eclipse, we're going to do more changing on the outside. When we have a lunar eclipse, we're going to be doing more of those changes internally. But yes, any planet that comes into your sign or one of our heavenly bodies, the sun or the moon, is going to issue intense change, whether we're ready for it or not. So a piece of advice, look ahead astrologically, get yourself the Farmer's Almanac. They're a great resource, and I use that often. Then look ahead and see when it's a full moon in your sign, or take a look at some of the astrological notes that I've given you for this look ahead for the first 6 months of 2025, and mark your calendar. And that way you'll be ready, and maybe you'll adjust better.
Yeah, I mean, being proactive with this knowledge, like you said, these are tools that we can use. So if we know that something will be in our sign and something will be stronger to obtain or maybe easier to let go, some of the things we're doing in our life, we can plan along with the planets. Because I do know that I remember, I think it was Reagan, did a lot with astrology when he was in office, and his wife was a very big believer in the times and the things that they did. So it's wonderful information. And now let's take a look at what we have for June.
And I love what you said there, plan with the planets. I saw a t-shirt once that said, learn all you can about astrology and then blame the planets, which of course we don't want you to do. But as Denise said, knowledge is power. Be prepared, be proactive, and that way you'll feel more in control. For June, the last month that we're going to cover in this 6 months preview, June 8th, we have Mercury, the planet of the mind, moving into the gentle, loving sign of Cancer. So this will bring you closer to family and hearth, which is us Cancerians. We're just so emotional and little love bugs. And it will open up channels of communication. So maybe if you've been waiting to say something special to that special someone in your life, it would be a great time for a marriage proposal. It would be a great time to mend fences. If you haven't seen a friend in a while, give them a call, reach out, see how they're doing. The planets will be working with you to enable that to happen. June 9th, we have Jupiter, the planet of luck and abundance, moving into Cancer. If you're a Cancer, you're going to be going, yay, it's about time things went my way. This brings major opportunities, more emotional support, improvements in your living situation. Maybe you're looking for a new apartment, or maybe you're looking to buy your first house. Use this power accordingly. It means success. It means progress. It means clarity in thinking, and it begins a whole new cycle. June 11th, we have the full moon in Sagittarius. You're more positive. You're less serious and passionate. Sagittarius loves to travel. They
Oh,
love
that's for sure. That is for sure.
they love to go into the great outdoors. They're very outdoorsy people. There's a yearning to go somewhere, even if it's just your backyard. And it'll be getting warm for most people by June. Take your shoes off, run through the grass, feel that freedom. June 17th, we have Mars entering into the sign of Virgo, which is the sign of service and work. So that will up your drive and ambition. You'll tackle more projects, get organized, do what I call a closet purge. Go through all those clothes and shoes, donate them to charity. You'll feel better, you'll have less clutter, and you can get rid of what no longer serves. June 19th, we have Jupiter moving into Neptune. Jupiter is squaring Neptune, excuse me. It will spur compassion, but watch out for a rush to judgment. Tensions may erode your vision. This is an allegory, of course. Maybe you're not seeing things the way that you should. Jupiter is a lovely planet which brings abundance, but working with that energy, we want more good things. We don't want more bad things. So we want things like abundance, better health, better relationships. You don't want to work with Jupiter energy if you're trying to send something away, if things that you don't want, bad habits, gaining weight, those are banishing energy. So Jupiter always brings more, but we want to have more of what we want, not more of what we don't want, like debts. So be careful with Jupiter. June 20th, the sun moves into Cancer, so the focus is on emotional needs. You're going to spend more time with the people that matter to you. And I think we have one last note for June, which is June 26th. We have Mercury entering into Leo, the sign of creativity. So intuition is heightened here, and you will have a flair for the dramatic because Leo is the sign of the actor and the sign of needing attention and taking the center stage or having the spotlight shine on you. So just to recap, the big things I want you to take away from all of this massive diatribe that I hit you with today, the four outer planets are changing signs. This is key for everything that's happening. Neptune goes from Pisces to Aries March 30th. Saturn goes from Pisces into Aries May 25th. Jupiter will go from Gemini into Cancer June 9th. And Uranus goes from Taurus into Gemini on July 7th. We have 3 Mercury retrogrades that I'm going to recap for you. Mercury is in retrograde March 15th through April 7th. and again July 18th through August 11th. And the last Mercury retrograde, we only have three this year, not four like we sometimes do. The last Mercury retrograde is November 9th through November 29th. And I know a lot of you are affected with Mercury retrogrades because that seems to be the time when computers crash and mail gets lost, and we have little layers of miscommunication where your words aren't coming out right or people misunderstand you. So just keep in mind that it's a time, all retrograde periods are a time to reflect, renew, refresh, re-energize. So pull back in any retrograde periods. Don't make any intense decisions. Don't sign any contracts. Don't commit yourself. Just be more insular and again, make the energy work for you. And I hope this has helped. It's a lot of fun for me to do the research because remember, there's a lot of fact in astrology because it uses astronomy and the orbits of the planets. Then we ascribe certain attributes to the signs of the zodiac, the houses of the zodiac, and the planets themselves. And that's how we astrologers make our predictions or tell you, well, what this could be a little sketchy or this could be wonderful energy to work with. It's all energy, and energy is neutral. It's up to you whether you use it for a positive outcome or something less than that.
Hmm. And I think I've already decided that the month of June so far seems to be my favorite. So if I have this right, I can be traveling while I'm doing the work that I do to serve others with some wonderful clothes I'll be getting rid of shortly anyway, and have the abundance that I need to do this and get creative, maybe coming down to visit with my friend and be creative together.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Yeah, I have a guest room with its own bathroom. I would love to see you. Denise and I go way back. Denise has a rather unique astrological makeup in that she's really on the cusp of two signs. So she is a Scorpio Sag, and I think those two signs balance each other so well because Scorpio is intensity and can get a little obsessive. But then the Sagittarian energy comes in, which is the happy-go-lucky centaur of the zodiac, and they just love everybody and everything. They're very social people. So she's got a perfect blend. I always say that if you are on the cusp of two signs, that's a good thing because you're not so one sign definitively, and it gives you varying aspects of yourself. When astrologers do natal charts, the three things that are the most important are your rising sign, which is the sign, not where the sun is, but the sign that's coming up over the horizon when you were born. That's your outer shell, what you project of yourself to others, kind of like going to a party with a bunch of strangers. What's their first impression of you going to be? That's your rising sign. The sun is self. Most of us know where our sun is placed because we used to, in the old days, look at newspaper horoscopes and see, very simply where your sun is, but also where your moon is very important. The moon represents the divine feminine, your emotions, who you are subconsciously and deep inside. So when you take those three aspects of rising sign, sun sign, and moon sign, and you put them together, and then where the other planets fall in the rest of your horoscope on the day you were born, that is who you are intrinsically, your personality, but also the best parts of you and maybe some of the not so best parts of you. Because at the end of the day, we're all human and we're all complex. So we invariably will show parts of these energies throughout our lifetime and the choices we make and the goals that we attain.
Oh, that's couldn't have said it better myself, Vesta. Very good. I just want to thank you so much. I know you came through at the last minute for me to put this together and get some great information out to everybody because the more tools we have, the better things can work for us. You're looking to catch a break. Here's one of them right here. And you can go back and review this over and over on YouTube. It's available for you to check out all the information you want. And we will be doing this second half where we cover July through December, and we'll release that probably sometime around June. So you can prepare for those months as well and set things up so you can be your best self. That's what it's all about. And again, Vesta, I want to thank you so much for this fabulous information.
Oh,
And I just want everyone to do their best in this coming year in 2025. Make it good, make it wonderful, and just let it flow. Okay. Coming up next month, I'll be doing a podcast on something that may sound familiar to some of you. It's our love-hate relationship with change. Everybody wants change. Everybody wants something new. They want something different. And they hate change. I don't want something to be so different that I'm out of my everyday and I'm out of my routine. I don't want to change because it's familiar, but I do want more. It's quite a quandary. So we will go over that next month as I join you on this podcast. And again, if you like what you see, please feel free to share this information with other people through the YouTube, through my website, through the many things that you'll see at the very end of this. And we will see you back with Astrology by Vesta once again in June. So I'd like to thank you all for joining us today. And may this year be the best ever. We know we can use it. Denise Ortiz, mindbodyhealing.biz. Thanks so much for joining us.